Hi, my name is Antonis and I am the painter of this video. For today's video I will paint an image from the Sistine Chapel by Michelangelo as my reference. The paintings of Michelangelo are absolutely amazing, and of course he has painted them in the Sistine Chapel with the technique of fresco on wet plaster on the wall. I will use egg tempera to paint my study, as it's the closest to the fresco that I can use. If you are interested to learn the technique of Michelangelo, of course mine will be just a study, and if you are interested to see how he must have painted his paintings in the Sistine Chapel, please stay with me on this video. Again, I would like to thank you so much for supporting this channel and my patrons on patreon.com who actively support me and financially, and they help me continue these videos and bring you this content that it's helpful to many of you. So I will follow mostly the same method as that I use in the Byzantine when I paint a Byzantine icon. I will draw the subject, and I will transfer it on my board. Then, as you see here, I will paint my proplasmos. This proplasmos is a semi-transparent green brownish color. I use one layer of paint, one coat of paint to paint this proplasmos, and then, as you see here, on the top of my proplasmos I will paint my as we say grapsimata in the Byzantine terminology, the shadowy and the dark parts of the face. Here you see me painting the hair, and as I noticed, the Michelangelo took under consideration that his figures are to be seen from afar, and they have to make sense from somebody who is looking from down below the ceiling. So his brushstroke is rough, and he's not preoccupied in being in painting details or things as if it was a painting to be seen from close. That's why the hair of this figure here are so roughly painted, and I will just follow his brush stroke for this study. When I paint these grapsimata, I will take a lot of time, and I will try to spend a lot of time when I paint those. I'm very careful, as these are very important, and I think it's the base whereupon the rest of the painting will be painted. I've said it before in my videos, and for those that you follow my content, you know how important I think these grapsimata are. So take your time when you paint these, and don't be in a rush to get to the lightening part. I know it's more satisfying and more spectacular somehow, but this grapsimata step is very important, and you should be sure that it's the best that you can do before proceeding to painting the light. The work of Michelangelo is very charming to me. There are many figures in the Sistine Chapel that I find absolutely magnificent, beautiful, very modern, and in a sense they have defined my sense of beauty. And I just can't believe that Michelangelo found so much beauty in himself and managed to convey this beauty into his work. I absolutely adore him, and it's not by chance that he was considered, even when he was alive, one of the greatest artists of history. And here you can see me painting this first light. I'm using at this point the brush that I use for iconography, a very soft Kolinsky brush. And with this I will set my shapes without worrying about blending or any tonal details. I just try to see which are the shapes of the light that Michelangelo has painted on this beautiful face, and I will try to copy them. There are very few paintings by Michelangelo painted in oil. I think it might be one or two, maybe in his whole life. And he used to despise other painters for using this new method of oil painting by that time, like Da Vinci and Raphael. And he used mostly the technique of fresco when he painted on the walls, or tempera when he painted in a board. There is a painting in the National Gallery painted by Michelangelo in tempera, and it's very beautiful. So, egg tempera is an appropriate material, medium to use if you want to make a study on Michelangelo. I would urge you to study him and make some copies of his artwork. So as you see here, I took a bigger brush, and a brush that is soft. It's inappropriate for water-based mediums, but it's a synthetic brush here, and a very used brush. The reason I do this is because I don't want to tire a very delicate and expensive brush here, because I want to use this brush almost as if it was a fun brush, a brush with its bristle much used and a little bit open, in order to to achieve this blending effect, as you see here. So here you can see better what I'm talking about. I'm blending now the first photisma to my hyperplasmos using a half tone, an in-between tone that is greenish, that is a mixture of first light and hyperplasmos and a little bit of yellow to get this greenish hue. And with this brush that is a little bit open, I will try to blend and achieve this fresco effect. I'm pretty sure that, Michelangelo used a very similar technique. Of course, he was the master and a genius in blending and revealing the human volume. But I'll just stand in that his technique must be very similar to this here, what you see here. Michelangelo was a genius not only for blending perfectly what he wanted to blend, but also for drawing and conceiving these unbelievable figures, these beautiful figures that nobody in history had ever seen anything similar to that before him. So even if we make the best copy of a painting, we don't become of similar value, say, of the artist. I don't aspire to be Michelangelo here. I just because I know that the criteria are so different and irrelevant. What I aspire here is to just see if I can unlock, let's say, this technique of him and see if I can learn something of this great master. Now I will switch to a smaller again brush. I'm in between smaller and bigger brushes, and I will do some of the blending with this small brush. At this point I go back and forward, trying to blend just these half tones to my proplasmos. I don't worry, I don't care what's happening between the first photisma and the mid tone at this point. I'm just preoccupied and working on the area in between the middle tone and my proplasmos, as you see here. So I'm working with very transparent liquid layers. I see that Michelangelo has used this effect where light meets shadow. There is a little zone of a darker tone, and you can see this more evidently on the cheek of this figure. There is a video in my channel about blending the flesh, and if you haven't yet checked that video, it's a detailed description of how I blend flesh and this video will help you understand better what's happening here as well. And if you haven't, please move to that video and watch it. Again, I'm on the bigger brush, and with a tone that is closer to my first photisma now, but not exactly first photisma, I will do some more blending. Again, without worrying what's happening to the more lighted parts of my painting. I'm just trying to smoothen these middle tones with my first photisma. I was very positively surprised about using this brush. It worked and it functioned exactly like I wanted it to function. It was really nice. Back to the smaller brush. I try to work a little bit more quickly here, and not as much in the tip of my brush. As you see, I don't use a Kolinsky brush here. It's a synthetic brush appropriate for oil colors. And I try to paint more quick and use tempera almost as if it was oil. Not in a linear, not so much in a linear way as, for example, when I was painting the Fra Angelico images, where it was all a linear way of building flesh and building the head. Here I use tempera as if it was oil, almost, let's say, and I try to blend it in quick and decisive brush strokes. When you use, or if you use a harder brush, more appropriate for oil, then you should be, and if you use that brush on tempera, then you should be extra careful to not destroy the underneath layers, and so keep in mind that you should not insist on painting one area, but you should move on, because there is the danger that the brush, since it is very hard, it can, let's say, sweep the underneath coat and destroy the painting. Here I'm just trying to still blend the first photisma to my poplasmos, and I just try to make it look as close to my reference as possible. It's just a matter of how it looks to me, and I can't exactly tell you what I'm doing because I'm back and forth in um, in tones, half tones, and in between the tones of first photism and proplasmos. I'm in between them the whole time, so it's very hard to tell you what exactly I'm doing. Well, now I can tell you that I'm using a tone that is almost or exactly the first photism again, just to establish the more light areas of the first photism. But again, as you see here, now I went a little bit back to smoothen a little bit the area under the eyes. So I'm just jumping here and there in order to make this head look similar to that of Michelangelo. The more I paint these studies, the more I appreciate, of course, their work and the effort they spend on painting these masterpieces. It took 4 years for Michelangelo to paint the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, and I'm sure that the first people who saw his work must have stayed with the most wonderful impression for years. And here you see me painting the second photisma. And for this open bristle brush works fantastically. It gives this effect as if it was painted on fresco, and I'm pretty sure that Michelangelo must have used a very similar brush and a very similar method, as it imitates his brush strokes and his style very, very convincingly. I remember from the history of art, we had a very, when I was in school, in university, we had a very hard book about history of art, and at the chapter of Michelangelo, it said something that remained with me all these years. It said that Michelangelo, although he was infertile himself. No, although he was a virgin, although Michelangelo was a virgin, he fertilized the dead womb of Italy, and this was very impressive to read, and it really seems true somehow. Of course, Italy was not unfertilized artistically, but I understand what the author wanted to say, and yeah, Michelangelo never married, he had no offsprings, and he died very, very old. So here you see me blending this first light to this second light to the first light, using the technique from iconography with very transparent and thin layers. As you see, the face starts to get along, and appear. If you find this content helpful to you, please consider subscribing and become a member of this channel. It almost becomes a community where people can ask their questions for free and um, open some discussion about anything. You can also, I'm glad to see your artwork. You can also send me your artwork on my email account. It's really nice to see you progressing and becoming better artists. And if these videos are of any help to you, this gives me a lot of pleasure and purpose. So a big thank you for all of you that have already subscribed, and there are more videos and more things to explore together. So yeah, thank you all again. I have to say that this is a journey for me, and the more I do these videos, the more I learn myself, and these studies really have an artistic impact on me. I become a better painter and a better iconographer. That's why I urge you to also do these studies and learn from these old masters, because they have so many things to teach us. Like before, you see me blending here back and forth, trying to make it look like the reference. Although I am an iconographer and my most of my um, artwork is icon related, I feel that art is an open breathing, let's say, thing, and that I can jump from um, and experiment and learn from every artistic style, every artistic period, and it gives me pleasure to experiment with new techniques, new materials, to try to understand how these masters of every period of the history of art have worked their magnificent paintings. So, to many of you, this might seem a big leap or a big, um, change from iconography to the Renaissance style, but to me, it's just something that gives me pleasure to experiment with, to explore, and I certainly believe that it helps me evolve as an artist and keep things interesting and somehow um, open. So I would again urge you to play with different styles, to experiment, even if you have begun your artistic journey with iconography. Feel free to explore other periods from the history of art, and don't be afraid of the medium, of the subject, or of the naturalism that the specific references might have. Just jump in the painting and see how you will respond to this new challenge, and how you will manage to swim in this new sea of art. Some people are afraid to experiment this new a new style, a new work from a different period from history of art. But we have nothing to lose. It's just something that will teach us something. And I've noticed that when I experiment with something different, when I take this risk, I also receive great joy out of this effort. And even if it's not the best, the result is not the best, I'm still find myself being happy about having tried something new, and having experimented with something unexpected. Anyway, it will give me a lot of pleasure to see you, to send me some of your Michelangelo paintings. Anyway, here you see me painting some final brush strokes on the face of this painting. Please let me know on the comment section what you think of Michelangelo of Renaissance, if you have experimented with that period yourselves, or if this is something intriguing for you, something challenging for you. Let me know in the comments, and of course, if you have any questions, I'm happy to help you with that. As I said before, this was a fresco meant to be seen from afar. That's why Michelangelo painted hair in a very rough way. And for the most part, this head is finished. I don't think there is a name for this head. I think it's one of the nudes that accompany a Sibyl. So thank you all so much for being here once again, and I will see you again soon with another video tutorial. Thank you again very much. It's really wonderful, and I will see you soon. Bye.